whole lot of lies. Right? You believe in the Bible?
To a degree.
To a degree. You can bring out Deuteronomy 28:68. We're gonna bring you. We're gonna show you just a few verses. Bear with us, right? Because we've been lied to all our lives, as we said before. Right? By the so-called white man, the Arabic man, so on and so forth.
All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68, and it reads, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again."
Moses speaking to the Israelites, saying, "Look, y'all gonna go into Egypt again, right? But we need to break down the word Egypt. Like if you don't really know the word to put, you gotta break it down, right? So let's break it down.
Book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Right. Out of the house of what?
Out of the house of bondage.
Out of the house of bondage. Egypt just means bondage. And bondage means captivity. Captivity means slavery. Alright? So with that definition, we're going to apply it back to this verse and break it down.
"And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again."
And we know this isn't talking about the physical Egypt because there's no other book in the Bible that talks about the Israelites going back into Egypt. It's not mentioned in Kings, Jeremiah, and Hosea. Right? It's talking about another type of Egypt. Captivity, another type of captivity. Right? And you're going to go to what again? Into Egypt again.
With ships.
Right? You're going to go into slavery again, but with ships. Right? Go on.
"By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again."
And not only that, those Israelites are not going to see their homeland anymore. Right?
"And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies."
Right? Because once they get off that boat, they was sold to their enemies. And what else?
"For bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you."
And no man redeemed them out of that captivity. Right? So seeing that this is a prophetic book, and it has to be filled with prophecies, right? Who is Moses speaking to today? Which people on earth can proudly say, damn, that fits me? Which people can confidently say, that sounds like my history? Can a white man say it? What about the Arabic man? Not the Chinese man either, or the East Indian, not the Korean. So, process elimination, that only leaves us. Everybody that you see on this chart.
That's right.
So that was one of the many curses that happened to the Israelites. I can show you three more. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 47. All right, to really nail it in the coffin. Because for certain people, that's not enough. All right, bring it up.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 47. And it reads, "Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies."
Right, so as a result of not really worshiping the Lord with sincerity and in truth, we have a lot of curses that's going to come upon us and overtake us. All right? And not only that, we're going to serve our enemies, the same enemies that we mentioned in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. All right? We got off the boat and we sold us to our enemies. And we're going to serve our enemies in one of what?
"Which the Lord shall send against thee, and hunger."
And hunger. Some places you might want to go when you're hungry. Pizza Poppers, I don't know. McDonald's, right? Chipotle, Chick-fil-A. I don't really know, brother. Whatever in your fridge, you just know that you got it from the so-called white man.
That's right.
Right? Because even if you want to go to the grocery store, it might be Kroger, Walmart. Nonetheless, all owned by the so-called white man. He owns all the manufacturing companies, right? He owns all those ships that export and import. Right? So when we find ourselves famished or hungry, we have to go to the so-called white man. And what else?
"And in thirst."
And in thirst. Right? You want your Dasani, your Sprite, your Pepsi, Coca-Cola, your Starbucks, your Faygo, your Gatorade. You might want some E&J. You might want some liquor. Right? You got to go to the so-called white man. Right?
"And in nakedness."
And in nakedness. Everything that you're wearing. Nike, Adidas, Polo, Ralph Lauren, Lacoste. It all has to be bought from the so-called white man. Right? And Macy's, and
We got to
Targets,
come
and
out of all of
Amazons.
that,
Go
though.
on.
We're coming all
Go
out.
on.
"And in
Coming out of all
want
of that.
of all things."
And in one of all things, if you want a college degree, you're going to have to go to a so-called white man and say, look, I want to enroll in these classes. And then after that, you got to kind of pull out your wallet. You got to pat your pockets. Say, I got enough money. And if you don't, you got to take out a loan from the so-called white man. You want to drive a boat? You got to go get a license for it. You want a car? Go get that license. You want to drive an airplane? Get a license.
Passport,
Right.
Social Security,
Passport,
birth certificate,
Social Security.
everything.
The majority of it, you have to find yourself at the Secretary of State
That's right.
asking them, hey, I need this. And then say, okay, you got it. All right. The same way in slavery, our ancestors, they had to go to the so-called white man when they was hungry, thirsty, right? They need clothing, right? And everything else.
and in want of all things.
And it's like in want of all things. We already mentioned in want of all things. Right? You want a mask, gotta get it from so-called white man. All right, go on.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
To the point where you call yourself a black man in America, or an African American woman, or a nigger woman, or a nigga. Right? Because that's what a lot of our people call themselves. Right? That's how far he destroyed us through the process of time. Right? Everything from 16, 18, all the way up until now, he destroyed us. Right?
Destroyed the women too.
Where we hate our brothers and we hate our sisters. Vice versa. We got another verse in verse 54.
Verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate.
Now that man might be your brother, your cousin, Uncle Ray Ray, might even be your father. Right? He can be very delicate towards you, but what?
His eye shall be evil towards his brother.
He's going to have an evil eye towards his brother. Alright? So that goes into your so-called black on black crime. Alright? That goes into your domestic violence. Alright?
And toward the
Those
wife.
are actually written curses.
And toward the wife of his bosom.
Right? That's why the majority of our so-called black men dislike our so-called black women. Right? They go tit for tat. Right? Always fighting each other at the end of the day. Right?
Those
We
are
have the highest
curses,
rate
though.
of domestic violence, demographic-wise, in the nation.
And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall lead.
No, stay.
Which he shall lead.
Stay and watch football. Which he
Which he
shall
shall
lead.
lead.
Which he shall lead. So-called white man not leaving their children. It's damn sure not the Arabic man. Because they all work in unison. It's not the Chinese man. It's not the Korean man. It's not the Hindus. Or the East Indian man. They all working together. But us, we always fighting. Right? There's a quote that says, I'm loosely paraphrasing it, but it says, if I'm not the captain and I'm seeking a ship. Right? That's the mentality of our brothers today. That's why we can't prosper in anything. Right? And even if we do try to have a business or anything like that, it gets shut down by the so-called white man.
Because we was cursed by the white man.
Prime example, in Dearborn, you had a so-called black woman. She had a hookah bar, a whole hookah store, right? And it was thriving. But the cops constantly, checked her out, and they ended up shutting it down for no reason. So we can't have nothing at the end of the day.
They don't want us to have nothing.
It's slavery.
So why is this happening to us as a people? Why have we been finding ourselves in all these different types of slaveries, from the Babylonians to the Assyrians to the Egyptians, Greco-Roman, even to American? Why do we get the short stick? Or draw what it is, short straw. Shorter end of the stick. Why did this happen to us as a people? Is it a coincidence that we just so happen to go into 7 major captivities in mankind? Go to Deuteronomy 28:15.
So the brother's asking, basically, what did we do to deserve this? Why are all these curses upon our people? This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15, and it reads, But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
Right?
to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right, so as a result of not breaking, I'm slugging. Read it one more time. Let's break it down.
It's the
Come.
white man cursing us. They stripping us from our education. From
This is
who
the book
we
of
are.
Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15, and it reads, But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
And spoiler alert, we didn't hearken, right? Because look at us now. Go on.
Hearken means listen. To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day,
So if you don't keep the commandments, then what? What happens? What's the
That-
ramifications?
that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
We know a curse is a negative thing. We went over a few of the curses. They don't sound positive. A father leaving his children, that don't sound good at all. Right? Us going to the so-called white man and one of all things, that doesn't sound very convenient. It don't sound fun, right?
I believe the
When we all
curses
working,
come when we're
when we
disobedient.
going to work and we go to the plantations, we don't wake up and say, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait to put on my
curses that
boots
come
and
when
work
we're
with a white man.
disobedient, though. That's why
So,
we're,
brother, who
we're
is this happening
we're
to?
born into it.
So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
That's right.
Right? Because only, you said what?
24/7.
24/7. So only we can find ourselves fitting these curses. Right? Nobody else can.
We're born into
Right.
it.
We've been in slavery. Right? We've been persecuted by the so-called white man. All right, we got one more curse. Deuteronomy 28:66.
Con. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 66. And it reads, "And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night."
Right, a lot of our people fear day and night to the point where they gotta have a strap on or a big ass knife on them. Go on.
"And shall have no non-assurance of thy life."
Read it one more time.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 66. And it reads, "And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life.
Go on.
In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even."
Right, in the morning time, you're gonna wish it was evening because there's so much crime that happens early in the morning. Right, you got people carjacking people early in the morning. All right, go on.
"And at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning."
Right, in that evening, during the nighttime, you're gonna wish it was the morning because people do a lot of break-ins at night. You can't catch a break. Go on.
"For the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thy eyes which thou shalt see."
And we damn sure know the white man is not living in that fear. All right, they walk up and down in the alleys in Detroit. When we ask them, "Do you fear anything?" and they say no. All right, you ask a so-called black man, he's not gonna say no, but we know that he fears because he always gonna have a strap on him. Right, he's gonna have his hands balled up. He's gonna evil eye people. Right, try to put a mean mug on his face, so he come off as intimidating. All right, so who are the Israelites, brother? What would your nationality be? Seeing that you fit those curses and your ancestors and your brothers fit those curses, who are you according to the Bible? If it's not a black man and a Negro and a niglet, what is your real nationality, brother? We gotta find these things out. So what would you say?
To be honest, I don't have a clue.
Well,
It's like, when you start tracing all that,
numbers 1.
everybody might not be what they think they are.
All right, you can go to Romans 8 and
Let's
16.
go to the bathroom. Hey, flowers.
Right. Bring up Romans 8 and 16.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 8, and verse 16. And it reads, "The Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of God."
Right, so our spirit bears witness that we are the children of God by reading these verses.
That's right.
Specifically, the curses that's in Deuteronomy 28th chapter. Along with, there's more curses too, right? We can spend all day breaking them down, but we touched on the major ones that really hits home, right? That's okay.
16.
Numbers 1 and 18.
The book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18. "And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month.
I wanna
And they
understand
declared
you
their
guys'
pedigrees
mind,
after
you
their
know?
families by the house
So
of their
I'm
fathers."
staying
By the
right
house
here,
of their
'cause I mean,
fathers. So their pedigree is determined by
study
their
this
father,
and I have a channel
right?
and stuff
Contrary
like
to
that,
popular
you know?
belief and
And when I
other
put out
fables,
stuff, I always
it's
try
not
to put out
determined
the
by your
best
mother,
type of
but more so your father.
That's
Seed
right.
bears the seed.
My whole
That's
thing
right.
is
I can
not
take an
trying to
apple
be
seed,
dumb.
brother, and I can go to
Okay?
East China
You know, I'm not
and plant it.
a man
And I can go to
or
Europe and
nothing
plant
like that.
another apple seed. And I can go to America and plant an apple seed. At the end of the day, the things that I reap is going to be apple seeds. I'm not going to call it a Chinese apple seed.
Okay.
I'm not going to call it a European apple seed. It's apples at the end of the day, right? So, likewise, with you being born in China, right? Your ancestors, they could have been born in China or Africa or America. At the end of the day, you're still an Israelite. And I'm going to give you one example. I like to bring up a lot. Superman. He came here from Krypton, born here in America, right? As a result of being here in America, he ended up calling himself an American, right? He ended up speaking English. He went to their schools and he learned their customs. But at the end of the day, Superman is still a Kryptonian by birth, right? And by spirit and by flesh. Likewise, you will be an Israelite, right? We know that through the spirit, right? Yeah, the curses, right? The seed of your father, so on and so forth. Brother, you are Superman. You know? We Superman on this earth. So-called black man. Go to Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Let's
Bring it on.
Let's tell him.
Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6.
I'm going to ask you a very important question after this.
"For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people."
And just a few.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Right.
Brother, who's the best at dancing? So-called black man and black woman, right? Who's the best at singing? So-called black man, black woman.
right.
You got Aretha Franklin, you got Nina Simone,
Because it's
right?
for soul.
You got all these people, and it's all predominantly so-called black men and women. We the chosen, right?
Sports.
Everything you can think of that's been invented, we invented it, right? The woman, she made the Matrix. She wrote out the whole screenplay,
That's right.
and she just now got her credit. So-called black man, I think he made the phone, he made the laptop, so on and so forth, right? They tried to go up into space, but they needed the help of so-called black women.
That's right.
We the minds and the brains behind this entire society, right? It was built up off of our backs. So that's how you know we the chosen, right? We run the fastest, we the strongest, we the smartest out of all the nations. This is proof. This is facts, right? They even try to be like us, right? They need sunscreen.
Facts.
And when you go into a UV light or a certain type of light, and they have on that sunscreen, they'll look like they have on blackface, right? Because they trying to be like us. They trying to put on melanin. They get melanin shots, right? We can stay out in the sun. And to further prove that you a Jew, brother, an Israelite, who built those pyramids? You telling me white man built those pyramids in a hot, blazing sun?
That's right.
They'd be all scorched up and burning, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it, brother.
They barely surviving out there in Israel now.
They barely surviving now.
That's why
So even
they
the-
got slaves then.
Even the
so
sun
they could
hate
help 'em.
them. They burn up in the sun.
They was trying to build their own civilization and couldn't do it. They was dying.
You
That's
know?
why they came and got us. Oh, they needed help.
They couldn't do it, brother.
I have a question for y'all.
Bet.
You believe that pretty much Israelites was in slavery by God's choice?
You said what?
Why? You're saying you believe that the Israelites was in slavery because it was God's choice for that?
Well, we chose to go into slavery at the end of the day. We
Okay.
can prove it too in Joshua 24:15.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, a lot of people got on Kanye West. They said, look, this man's crazy. He's nuts.
Slavery. Right.
He
It was
said
a choice, huh?
it was a choice. But, you know, a lot of people had a problem with it. But a lot of the Christians, or a lot of people who claim to believe in the Bible, you know, if they read it, they'll realize that it was a choice. Right? All the Israelites, they chose to go into slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
Book of Joshua.
Because I would have died. I would have jumped off that boat.
Hey, hold on. I'm thinking,
Go ahead. 15. 24 and 15, Joshua. We're going to prove that slavery was a choice according to the Bible. Alright?
That's right.
okay. Book of Joshua, chapter 21, and verse 15. And it reads this.
Bear with us, brother.
Joshua 21 and 15.
24 and 15.
24 and 15.
Fuck.
And it reads this. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord,
If it seems evil unto you to serve the Lord, go on.
choose you this day
He said, choose you this day. Right? Go on.
whom you will serve.
You got to choose this day who you're going to serve. Right? The Lord didn't put a gun to all of our heads and say, keep these commandments. He didn't say, keep these fringes and wear them. We got to make a choice. Right? Go on.
Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell.
Right? And you can go to the book of Isaiah, the 5th chapter, and the 10th verse. You can bring it up.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3, and verse 8. And it reads, Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse.
And the curse. Right? We read the curses in Deuteronomy 28. We're going to be sent into slavery through ships. Right? And we've been in slavery on ships up in Europe, America, parts of China, parts of East Asia, parts of East India. Right?
That's right.
Do your research,
Isaiah,
you'll find
5th
out we're
chapter,
all over.
In the 10th verse.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 10.
Jump to
Built
verse
this whole
13.
world.
Verse 13. And it reads this. Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst.
Why don't we have any knowledge? Go to Hosea 4:6. We have to find out why we don't have any knowledge as a people. I don't. What is it? Let's find out.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4, and verse 6. And it reads, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
Because what?
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee."
Well, we had the knowledge, brother. We had it when Moses came down with the 10 Commandments, right? We had it, but we rejected it. We said, hell no, I'm not doing that. I want to worship this calf over here. That's what I want to do. That's what our people were saying, right? The same way and the same thing that's happening now today. A lot of people say, I want to finish smoking my fat blunt, right? I want to go smash Tamika, right? And then talk to her sister and then talk to her mother, right? I want to be an adulterer. I want to be a drunkard. I want to be a murderer, right? This is what's happening to our people today. So as a result of rejecting knowledge, what did the Lord say?
I will also reject thee.
Now he's going to reject us. And that's only right? We can't expect the Lord to love us if we even break his commandments. Same way I can't expect my wife, or, I can't expect my wife to, say she loved me and, well, you get what I'm saying.
So what was you saying about that? You saying...
Sister,
No.
what I was saying was, I can't have my wife say she loved me and then she go off and sleep with a man.
Right.
And then I can't
agree.
say, it's okay. And hey, look.
I agree.
All right.
I'm just saying.
But you see what I'm saying, brother.
Faithful, submissive to your wife. That's what you're doing.
Not submissive.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
so
So like, bear with us, brother. Does it make sense so far?
I can dig it.
Okay, all praises.
Because I'm still standing here waiting for you guys to
Go to
explain
Sirach
that to
17
me.
and 11, brother.
When you get ready.
But, yeah, brother.
Sirach 17:11.
Yeah.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 17, and verse 11. It reads, "Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life."
So we keep reading that the Lord gave us
From
knowledge.
heritage.
He gave us wisdom. All right? All of this wisdom and knowledge in the Bible, this is our heritage.
That's right.
But our people reject it day in and day out. They reject it for other philosophies. Right? Go to Proverbs chapter 5, verse 1. Proverbs 5 and 1. They reject this knowledge for everything. We have people actually say, I want to still smoke crack. I don't want this word. I don't want to be taught. Go to Proverbs 12 and 1, Bible Shark.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 5 and verse 1. My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding.
Bow thine ear unto my understanding. Everything that said the Lord, we got to bow our ears unto it. Go on.
That thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge.
Right? Go on.
For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb.
Right, the lips of a strange woman, that could be an actual seductive sister who's trying to get in your pants, trying to take all your money from you, right? Just being a harlot, right? And that also goes for spiritual women,
Shalom,
right?
Kings.
Shalom. That also goes for other doctrines and other philosophies of this world that we know that we can't get entangled. Go to Proverbs 6 chapter, in the first verse. What you got?
12 and 1.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get it after this.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 10 and verse 1. The Proverbs of Solomon. A wise son maketh a glad father.
Right, the Heavenly Father, if you want to be wise, you're going to attend thine ears into this Bible. You want to make the Heavenly Father glad and, joyful, right, and love you. You're going to attain into wisdom, right? You're going to attain into the knowledge that he gave you. Go on.
But a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother.
Go on.
Treasures of wickedness profit nothing,
Right?
but righteousness delivereth from death.
But righteousness delivereth from death. Right? And to be righteous, to be righteous is to keep the commandments to the best of your ability.
That's right.
You bring yours up.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 12, and verse 1. And it reads, "Whoso loveth instruction loveth knowledge, but he that hateth reproof is brutish."
Right, certain people hate reproof. They hate to be corrected. They want to continue to bask in their folly, right, and do things that they've been doing for all their lives, right? That's why it's so hard for a lot of people to really subdue their understanding and, to pick up what we're putting down. Thus said the Lord. All right. You got any questions so far?
Oh, good.
You bring out 2nd Ezra 14, huh?
Oh, good.
2nd Ezra 14 and 34. You can get, for the sister, you can bring out Acts, the 17th chapter and 11th verse. 14 to 34. But first, I really do want that one first.
All right, this is the book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 11. And it reads, these were more noble than those in Thessalonica, and that they received the word with all readiness of mind, and searched the scriptures daily.
They search these scriptures daily, right? Like it was like you wake up and get on your phone. Look, they woke up and got on this Bible.
And searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so.
Go on.
Verse 12. Therefore, many of them.
You read all of 11?
Yeah. Con.
Okay, con. 17 and 11?
Con.
Oh, yeah, you read verse 12.
Verse 12. Therefore, many of them believed, also of honorable women, which were Greeks, and of men, not a few.
Okay, so first off, how did these women attain this knowledge and wisdom and understanding? They had to do something first. All right? Bring that up.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, and verse 34. Therefore, if so be that you will subdue your own understanding and keep reform your hearts.
To do what? Read it one more time from the top. Matthew 18.
Therefore, if so be that you will subdue your own understanding.
Subdue your own understanding. Everything that the so-called white man taught you. And what?
And reform your hearts.
And reform your heart. Go on.
Ye shall be kept alive.
You're going to be kept alive because you're going to know wisdom and know how to conduct yourself and to carry yourself. Right? Let's get an example. Hold that. Go to Sirach 9 and 7.
Sirach 9 and 7.
Yeah, we're going to get a prime example. Okay, this brother got it.
The book of Sirach, chapter 9 and verse 7. Look not round about thee in the streets of the city,
Right?
neither wanderest thou in the solitary places thereof.
Right, meaning don't walk around in the streets just because, you know, with your headphones all on and you're not really being a vigilant. That's how a lot of our people, men and women, get kidnapped, right? So that's a commandment, right? And a lot of our women, they was doing that back in the day and they're doing that now, right? So if you want to avoid that and stay safe and be kept alive, then you're going to first subdue your own understanding. Pick up this book.
That's a
Read it one
good
more
precept
time.
for prostitutes out there walking the
34.
streets.
Verse 34. Therefore, if so be that you will subdue your own understanding,
Right?
and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept
You're
alive.
going to be kept alive because you're going to know wisdom.
They
That's
keep
what
going
keeps
back
you
to the
alive.
heart.
Go on.
And after death, ye shall obtain mercy.
That's right. You go to Ecclesiastes 8 and 5.
I talk about the heart too, though. Like they just mean to be pure.
I had a
As far as the
precept.
heart,
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18 and 1.
You heard me?
Yeah.
And verse 1. And it reads, at the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?
All right, these disciples asking Christ, the so-called black man, who's the greatest? How can you be the greatest in the kingdom? You got it.
And Jesus called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Now, we know we can't actually convert, go back in time, and be a kid and say, I'm here. What he means is reforming your heart and your mind, right? Subduing everything you've learned in this
to be
world,
pure.
right? When you subdue everything, that means you got to erase everything that you learned from the white man. When you erase everything, now you kind of don't know much, right? Such as your nationality, your heritage, the language your people spoke. Go on.
Verse 4, whosoever therefore shall humble himself,
Shall what?
gotta
humble himself or herself. Go on.
as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven.
Those are the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. What you had?
Ecclesiastes 8.
To be pure as a child.
I had a precept for it.
The book of Ecclesiastes,
Jeremiah
chapter
7.
8, and verse 5. Whosoever keepeth the commandments shall feel no evil thing.
You're not going to feel no evil thing, right? If you're abiding by the law or the commandment that was spoken of in Sirach 9 and 7 about not marauding the streets up and down, you're going to be kept alive. The brother brought out a lot of prostitutes do that, and they end up dying and getting kidnapped, right?
I'm saying it
So if
from
you
a
keep the
different
commandments, you're going to be kept
angle.
alive.
I
That's
think
just
it
one
means to
of
be
many, many
pure.
examples. Go on.
And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and
A
judgment.
wise man's heart is going to discern both time and judgment,
I got a
right?
precept.
So to have a wise heart, you got to attend thy ear. You got it.
That's what I'm saying. You keep
I had-
going back to the heart and the child in association with that. That's why I said I study the soul system and I understand that you need to be pure on the soul level to be abundant on the outside level.
Okay.
All right, it's 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 13 to 15. Now therefore, set thy house in order and reprove thy people.
So like it, what did it say? Read it from the top.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 14 verse 13. Now therefore, set thy house in order and reprove thy people.
He said, set thine house in order.